Like to me, when I look at the stars, it's almost paralyzingly scary how little we know about the universe, how alone we are. I mean, somehow it feels alone. I'm not sure if it's just a matter of perspective, but it feels like, wow, there's billions of them out there, and we know nothing about them. And then also immediately to me, somehow mortality comes into it. I mean, how did that make you feel at that time?
I think as a child, without articulating it, I felt that same
That
way.
feeling.
Just like, wow, this is terrifying. What's out there? Like, what is this? What does it mean about us here?
You're a scientist, a world-class scientist, planetary scientist, astronomer. Now, I'm a bit of an idiot who likes to ask silly questions. So some questions are a little bit in the realm of speculation, almost philosophical, because we know so little. And one of the awesome things about your work is you've actually put data and real science behind some of the biggest questions that we're all curious about. But nevertheless, many of the questions might be a little bit speculative. So on that topic, just in your sense, do you think we're alone in the universe, human beings? Do you think there's life out there?
Well, Lex, the funny thing is that as a scientist, I so don't even want to answer that.
You really?
No, I will answer it though.
Yeah.
But I just love to
You
say,
resist it naturally?
yeah, we naturally resist that because we want numbers and hard facts and not speculation. But I do love that question. It's a great question. And it's one we all wonder about. But I have to give you the scientist answer first.
Yeah, sure.
Which is we'll have the capability to answer that question soon, even starting soon.
How do you define soon?
How do I define soon?
So much happened in the last 100 years.
Right. And there's a difference, right? If it's 10 years or 20 years or 100 years. Yeah, there's a difference in that. Well, soon could be a decade or 2 decades.
And the answer...
By the way, journalists usually don't like that, or the people want like tomorrow, they want the news. But what it's going to take is telescopes, space telescopes, or very sophisticated ground or space telescopes to let us study the atmospheres of other planets far away and to look what's in the atmospheres and to look for water, which is needed for life as we know it, to look for gases that don't belong that we might attribute to life. So we have to do some really nitty-gritty astronomy.
So the promising way to answer this question scientifically is to look for hints of life. That's where like many of your ideas come in of what kind of hints might we actually see about this life.
Right. That's exactly what we need to do. And I like the word you chose, hint, because it's going to be a hint. It's not going to be a 100% yay, we found it. And then it will take future generations to do more careful work, to hopefully even find a way to send a probe to these distant exoplanets and to really figure this out for us.
I mean, we'll talk about the details. Those are fun, but like...
But back to the speculation, maybe?
Zoomed out big picture speculation.
The zoomed out big picture is, yes, I believe absolutely there is life out there somewhere because the vastness of the universe is incredible. It's so breathtaking. When we look at the night sky, if you can go to that dark sky, you can see, many, many hundred, or even if you have good eyesight and you're somewhere very dark, you could see thousands of stars. But in our galaxy, we have hundreds of billions of stars, and our universe has hundreds of billions of galaxies. So think about all those stars out there. And even if planets are rare, even if life is rare, just because the number of stars is so huge, things have to come together somewhere, someplace in our universe.
Yeah, it's so amazing to think that somebody might be looking up on another planet in a distant galaxy.
I have to interrupt your reverie and get back to, in our lifetime at least, the short term. We only have the nearest stars to look at. It's true that there are so many stars, so many hosts for planets that might have life. But in the practical question of will we find it, it has to be a star quite close to Earth, like a few light years, tens of light years, maybe hundreds of light years.
And by the way, you've introduced me to a tool of eyes on exoplanets, I think, that NASA has put together.
Eyes on exoplanets. It's a
eyes on
great
exoplanets.
software. You can
it's
download
so cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, can you give a sense of like who our neighbors are? Like you said, hundreds of light years. Like how many stars are close by? Like what's our neighborhood like? We're talking about 5, 10 stars that we might actually have a chance to zoom in on?
I'm talking about maybe a dozen or 2 dozen. stars
And that's
with planets that look suitable for us to follow up in detail.
For life.
Right.
Okay.
But one thing that's really exciting in this field is that the very nearest star to Earth